Wilson Morales from Black Film and TV talking to Jayme Lawson, who is in the new film, The Batman. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. There's so many people and so many characters in this movie. Talk to me about who you play and how you got the role.
I play a new character, a mayoral candidate. Her name is Bella Reál. She is from Gotham, grew up in Gotham, and feels that she can bring some change to the city. And how I got the role was a little crazy. I had gone into Cindy Tolan's office and had auditioned for something altogether different, non-related. One of those things where you're just trying to impress the casting director enough that they bring you back in for future projects. And she actually had shown that tape to Matt, and it piqued his interest that he asked if I would come in to read for Bella. And so I did, and then found out maybe a month or two later that I was going to be a part of the Batman. So yeah.
How much experience do you have? Have you watched do you know about the Batman franchise? Have you seen the previous Batman films? Are you a fan of the comic book genre?
Well, my introduction to Batman was Christopher Nolan's that whole Dark Knight trilogy. That was my first introduction to Batman. And then of course my mother would, have me go back and watch some of the Adam West, and then first Catwoman I ever saw was Eartha Kitt, and fell in love because I love Eartha Kitt. So that was my kind of education on the franchise.
Mhm. And then you're playing opposite some heavyweights, Robert Pattinson, Jeffrey Wright. What was that experience like, knowing you're going in there, you're playing the mayor? And I know earlier, before the movie came out, they had released the scene at the funeral. So that was a heavy scene to begin with, without giving any spoilers.
Yeah. I was pretty nervous because this was my first big feature film. Prior to, I had got the privilege and opportunity to do an indie film. But that was my only film experience that I was coming in the room with. So you're talking about some heavy hitters, but they were all great. They were just great human beings, and it was a wonderful cast, friendly environment. So I easily began to feel a little bit more comfortable on set. But up until I finished, every day I thought, oh, Matt's gonna fire me. He'll be like, who is this newbie? Why did we cast her? Get her out of here. All of that anxiety that you take on.
Having done Farewell Amor, an independent film, to doing the Batman, talk about elevation, crazy levels.
Yeah.
What did you learn in the process of doing your first big budget film and working with Matt, and like that you can take on to your next projects?
It's interesting, right? Because I joke about like my first day on set, we were working with 3 cameras all at once, right? And immediately trying to, this sense of like, I've said before, faking it, like just trying to fake it, like I know what's happening. And I slowly began to feel more comfortable, right? As I see how Rob related to the cameras and the environment, and Jeffrey, and also Matt, just how he handled the room as a director. It was like a wonderful director to work with. So it gave me more confidence. So as I went on to do these other projects shortly after, I felt more ownership on those sets with the characters that I was doing. I felt like I knew how to maneuver a bit more.
This Gotham is totally different because we see you, Bella Reál, a Black female, going up to be mayor, and you look in New York, you have a Black mayor now,
Yeah.
Did you, and obviously when you shot the film, Eric Adams wasn't the mayor yet,
No.
so it's a whole different take all of a sudden that you have a Black mayor in real life in New York City, and you have a Black, you're playing a character going up to being the mayor.
Right. Yeah. My character was actually inspired by AOC, because when Matt had originally written the film, he had told me that this character she didn't exist, but with AOC and with Stacey Abrams and all of those women of color that really started to get in positions of power in our as elected officials, he felt like that was too important to ignore, this cultural shift that's happening in our country. And so thus Bella Reál was created, because it really says something to have someone who grew up in this city, that knows the corruption that's happening in Gotham, that really is of the people, who's not power hungry, who doesn't want any political gain, but really feels like she has something to offer. That is a fever that is relatable to a lot of young women and young women of color in particular, right? You see a lot of people taking on these positions to voice for their communities. So it was an important aspect to put into the film.
And then I think about it, it's like between you and Jeffrey and Zoe, this was the first Batman that I can recall. We have three Black actors in prominent roles, not just in the background playing a cop
Yeah.
or somebody in the store or anything like that. So that's a good, thing that we're getting these days, that
Yeah.
you're opening up more than one role, and more than one role for a person of color.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's fantastic. I was thinking about it. I don't know, it hit me like a couple weeks ago, because this film is so male heavy and male driven, that the only two women in the main cast is Zoe, and then myself, and what that even means and what that looks like, right? It's powerful. It's and it's relatable, right? Like, it can be a little bit difficult for certain people to buy into the story of, right, a rich billionaire who's trying to be this vigilante, right? And the more you can color Gotham with relatable characters and relatable humanity, that we can begin to really root for everyone that's in the movie. It just adds more charm.
And then we got a couple of things. You're playing young Michelle Obama and the First Lady. What was that experience like working with Viola, and had you had a chance to meet with Michelle?
I have not met Michelle yet. I was too nervous and scared to. I did get to talk with Viola months before we ever filmed, and that was just such a joy, right? Because how she presents herself is exactly who she is. And so it was wonderful to just talk with her about Michelle and figure out how to carry over the storylines with each other. And I was super nervous, of course, right? Because that's the Michelle Obama. Like, she's such a beloved hero of mine. But I felt grateful that I at least got to play her before anybody knew her. I felt like that gave me a little bit more a leeway, but that was a wonderful experience, and I can't wait for that show to come out.
And then, are you going to be working with Viola again in The Woman King?
Yeah, we finished. We just finished. I want to say end of February, and that was fantastic. That time I actually got to do a scene with her, right? Because in First Ladies, you don't have it's not that meta. There's no young Michelle and older Michelle coming together, and talking.
So are you one of the warriors?
No, not one of the warriors. I am the favored wife of the king. So I play along opposite John Boyega. That's who I have most of my scenes with. And he's a wonderful.
And how was that? Obviously, in your young career, you've been in Batman. You're working with Viola twice, and you're being directed by Gina Prince-Bythewood.
I'm telling you, man, it's been a crazy ride, right? Because I'm meeting my heroes early, and I'm getting to work with them. And Gina is a dream of a director. And I'm really excited for everybody to see Woman King. It is powerful. I got to sit in on set one of the days when I wasn't working, and I got to see one of their scenes with the warriors, and I mean chills, like literal chills, and like tears starting to form in everybody's eyes, because you can feel the energy in the room, and when it's up on that big screen, what it's going to mean and what it's going to do to audiences. It's powerful.
And before I let you go, obviously Batman is going to do well at the box office. That is without a doubt. And should they do a follow-up, are you prepared to come back if they ask you to come back to play the role?
Yeah, Bass, we come back. We're gonna get it done. We're gonna do what needs to be done, right? Bella's a little bit of a fighter. As y'all see in the film, she really ain't backing down for nobody. Don't care who anybody is. She's gonna get what she needs done. So we'll see what happens.
Were you freezing in the water?
Oh my God, yes. That day, freezing cold. Freezing cold. I will never forget that day.
Well, Jayme, you know, you've got a bright career. Obviously, it's already taking off. People are going to be talking to you. People are going to hear about you. You've got some projects that's going to get you more visibility from different audiences. So congratulations on the gigs so far. Keep it going. We're here to support wherever you're at. Stay safe, take care, and we'll talk down the road.
Thank you so much, Wilson. Thank you.
Bye.